Hey everyone, it's Elle Hayes. Welcome back to my channel. Different kind of video for you today. I should pretty much say that every time since every video is a new type of video. But obviously staying along the lines of music, I went to Warped Tour this past weekend in Atlantic City and I wanted to give you a quick recap. I took some footage of it, not a lot, especially not of the music because didn't know if I'd get a copyright strike against me if I used that footage in here, so nothing crazy. I'm not trying to go into vlogging, but I think it would be fun in the future to do more videos of me at festivals and then giving you recaps such as this. So without further ado, let's get into the video.
Got so tired of waiting, got tired of the chase. I've been feeling like lately there's nothing in the way. Getting so impatient, need to get away now with you. Are you out?
It's zoomed in all the way on your face. That's going in the video.
Are you up on the road? Baby, I wanna
You look stoked.
Just how many days will go?
It's hot as hell.
It's hot as fuck. I didn't remember it doesn't go on until 8:50.
What is this?
I bet they're in all their air conditioning in their bus.
You look good in the sunshine. You look good in the rain. And I know once that you're mine, we'll have nothing to change. Getting so impatient, need to get away now with you. Are you out there dancing alone? Are you up on your own? Baby, I wanna know just how many days will go till I
Yep, that's right. It's not even 8, the time that A Day to Remember would play, and we are not at Warped. I will explain that shortly. So, we're getting ready for Warped Day 2. Hopefully we actually last the full day, because there was an issue yesterday. Besides the storm, we weren't there for that. I'll explain it all in a bit, but day 2, I'll have more footage for you.
I wanna know just how many days will go till I call you my own.
Are you taking my pictures?
I tried to shoot my final thoughts on Warped really quickly, but it didn't come out too nice, so I'm trying to do a quick one now before Rico gets back with the water and we actually have to start heading home. So we did not stay for Blink's set. We only went for Taking Back Sunday for the final wrap-up, just because we thought it'd be hell to get out, and we both have work tomorrow. So I didn't love that Warped Tour was on the beach. I personally felt like I was at a beach day and there happened to be music playing. Don't get me wrong, you could easily get in the crowd, and we did that especially towards the end of the show. But I love a mosh pit, I love being a part of a very rowdy crowd, and it felt like a lot more of people who didn't want to be around rambunctious individuals, a lot of people just wanting to drink and stand there. Plus, it was very difficult to move on the grass. It was very difficult to move on the sand making a mosh pit pretty difficult. They did do a circle pit at some point, but that was about it. So this is not my preference.
You look good in the sunshine. You look good in the rain.
So funny enough, I actually didn't go to the previous Warped Tour, which had been promoted as being the last Warped Tour. I know it was the last national tour, and I kept telling everyone that it wasn't actually going away, at least not yet. Overall though, my feelings on this particular venue choice was a bit weird to me. I am not sure if this was actually the initial place it was supposed to be at. I'm assuming it was. It's the last Warped Tour. I'm assuming they wanted to go out with a bang into them. A party on the beach sounds incredible. For me, I don't actually like concerts or festivals to be held on beaches. As I said in my clip that I showed you prior, I felt like a lot of people who went to this weren't the same people that would have gone to another Warped Tour. Granted, I get we're all getting older and there's something to be said for that, but a lot of them just seemed, they would have been happier going to Mohegan Sun to see a band and standing in the crowd drinking, not worrying about anyone bumping into them. The people that went to this either were very unaware of what the crowd tends to be like, or just expected it to be different because it was on a beach. There were a lot more people just standing there holding drinks, not wanting to be touched or anywhere near someone, which is very difficult when I think the final count ended up being 30,000 people a day. With that many people, I don't really understand their expectation to not be bumped into. But I watched certain people kind of get rude with others, but there were groups of people who wanted to go towards the pit, which means they had to jump over a barrier. And I'm not talking about the barrier against the stage. There was a side one separating the main path to walk along and the pit area in front of the stage. Anyway, those people wanted to jump over to join the pit, and a lot of the people standing near the barrier had an issue with that and kept yelling at them, cursing at them. Just seemed kind of ridiculous because I don't really know what people expect. I understand if you were standing there all day waiting for the show and you think someone's about to stand right in front of you and kind of push you out of your spot, fine, I get it. But at least all the shows I've been to where there's a pit, you kind of get that there are people who are going to want to go to the pit, and you just move out of the way and they go to the pit and you resume your spot. I don't know, it just different vibe than what I was accustomed to. I remember years, even when I was younger, going to these festivals and being pushed around in mosh pits, and yeah, I'd fall and scrape my knees because it was cement or tar instead of the sand venue. The beach. That's the word you wanted, beach. And it hurt. I get it's not for everyone, just as this beach venue is not for me. I also personally felt like the beach choice reminded me of how Skate and Surf went a couple years back. In the closest one to me, I don't remember exactly where it was, but I do remember last minute Skate and Surf didn't have their permits, so they had to switch venues to Six Flags. And they tried to present it as a perk, kind of how I think this Warped Tour presented being in Atlantic City as a perk. But for the Skate and Surf date, it just didn't really make sense because you didn't have any time to go on rides. Since the roster was jam-packed for the day, you wouldn't have time to go on rides, wait in those lines, and come back and see the bands you wanted. And in addition to that, it poured the entire time, so no one really wanted to move. Either Warped Tour Bamboozle years ago that I went to, that was on a beach, and that one was even more ridiculous to me because we actually weren't even allowed in the water there. So I will say this Warped Tour being in Atlantic City was the most successful, different kind of venue setting for a festival that I've seen thus far. The other ones I've been to seemed very unsuccessful, so I guess hats off to them for pulling that off. So kind of giving you an idea of how the first day went, I think my group and I should have planned a little bit better on the logistics and the fact that there's no re-entry. So we get there right around when doors open. We knew enough to not wait in the long lines. We've been to at least enough shows and festivals to know the line will clear out right around when doors open. There's no reason to stand there for hours waiting. We get there, we get in really quick, and we go straight to the blow-up wall that shows all the people and what times they're playing. If you've never been to Warped Tour, and you don't know how it works, they do not announce the times people are playing until the day of, at 12. So right when doors open, you find out when these artists are performing. So we find out that the whole morning is going to be jam-packed with ska, which, great if you like ska. I'm not a big ska fan. So we had 4 hours to kill until a band we wanted to see. There wasn't as much to do. They did, however, have the skate ramp, a wrestling arena, and a motocross kind of thing. It was entertainment, but just nothing that kind of helped kill the 4 hours that we wanted it to. Unfortunately, I ended up getting sick right around when the band that we wanted to see started playing. Go figure. And I will do a video on that at some point because I actually get sick pretty much at every show. I think it has a lot to do with being deaf in one ear, but I'll explain that in another video. But unfortunately, since I left early, I actually missed my favorite band performing, which is A Day to Remember. Super bummed about that. And apparently day one, it stormed, so they had to evacuate the beach, and which meant people got re-entry, so I could have actually gone back, just didn't. Even with all of those negatives that I've just kind of given you, I still had an incredible weekend, and I think day two made up for it for me. So day two, we planned a little bit better. Instead of going right at 12 to get in, we decided to all meet up on the boardwalk around 12, go and get lunch outside the venue. Oh right, because even though on Warp's site it said that they'd be able to accommodate gluten allergies, they definitely couldn't. The only options I found that were explicitly listed as gluten-free were a salad option and fruit. When someone tells me that I am able to be accommodated food-wise, it's so mind-boggling when my only options aren't enough calories to really sustain you for a day. And with an entire day that we were supposed to be, in theory, standing in the sun watching bands, that was nowhere near enough food or calories. I had to beg a taco vendor to make me a bowl, which they did not seem happy to do at all. And I get it. It's probably really annoying to have someone make changes. It even said no substitutes on their sign, but I didn't really have a choice. But because of that, day two, we decided to eat on the boardwalk before going in. We went in around 2 to go see The Story So Far. We meet up with another friend. Actually saw a decent number of bands on day two, and in all that time, I did not get sunburn, which is just miraculous. Granted, I was applying like crazy. I looked ridiculous. I bought in A Day to Remember long sleeve shirt. It's the Battleground one. I'll insert an image. I was really excited about that. I'm trying to remember all the bands I saw. I know I saw The Story So Far. I saw, I think they're called The Ones You Forget. Hey guys, future me editing here. So the name of the band is, funnily enough, The Ones You Forgot. I followed the lead singer on Twitter, and I never actually listened to her band. I don't know how I even found her Twitter. And then I accidentally stumbled upon them at Warped Tour, and I thought, holy heck, this band's really good. I went to look them up and realized I was following her already. I didn't really see any bands I didn't know other than that one. The roster's only so big, and there weren't that many stages to stumble upon, as there were in the past, of course. I saw Circa Survive, love Anthony Green, he's just my absolute favorite vocalist. I saw Taking Back Sunday. They were the last ones I saw. I've seen them where it was a much crazier performance, and I get that was probably years ago at this point, but I always think back to when he would climb what's it even called? The stage and hang upside down. Incredible. I'll also insert a clip of him swinging the microphone, because that's what he's known for, you know? Started the whole mic trick thing, and he's a great entertainer. Who else did I see? I don't remember now. The day is a blur. Oh, I saw the Used. How did I forget that I saw the Used? As always, a ridiculous set. He's just wild. The crowd goes crazy for him. He was able to convince the crowd to do a circle pit, despite me saying that no one could really mosh there. He was determined. He was not going to start the song until there was a circle pit. And then when it finally happened, he was making fun of the crowd because we clearly failed geometry and it was not a circle. I love pretty much all the bands I saw I think all have great stage presence and really get the crowd excited. It's so nice to watch, just especially Anthony Green. He's just by far my favorite vocalist and favorite entertainer. I just think he's ridiculously good at what he does. So all in all, I had a really good time at Warped Tour. It's like a tongue twister all of a sudden. I'm bummed that it's ending. I kind of get it. I get why it's ending. It's just not really sustainable to do a tour like that anymore. It logistically must have been a nightmare. I know it was a great time for all the people who did it, but I understand why it's not happening anymore. I get why it's finally done. I believe it's finally done this time. I think I'd be more upset if there weren't already festivals popping up that are kind of going to take the place for me that are within my realm of music. I'm already going to go to Disrupt Fest next Sunday, and I will do a video for that too. Warped had a great run. It was incredible going to it for years. I think the first time I ever saw Circa Survive, I stumbled upon them at a festival. I don't remember which one it was, but I remember stumbling upon them accidentally and just thought that they were the best stage presence I'd ever seen. And it's festivals like Warped Tour that give you the opportunity to find artists that you wouldn't have otherwise found. And I'm not saying any of these artists were small even when I found them, but just being exposed to them so readily. I loved it, and I'm also bummed that I'll never get to play it. As a musician, I wanted to one day be on Warped Tour. I love the whole awful idea of being stuck in a van and traveling to each show and kind of caravanning your way there with tons of other people. I loved the thought of that, and yes, everything's romanticized in your head, but trust me, I get that it wasn't like that. I did enough teching and backlining to know that, but I just like the thought of it. With that being said, I hope you liked this video. If you went to Warped Tour, or if you're going to Warped Tour when it's in California, who are you most excited to see? And if you already went, who is your favorite set? I'd love to hear your thoughts. I'd love to hear if there are other festivals or shows. If it's in the Connecticut, New York area, New Jersey, Rhode Island, things like that, I can easily get there. Any recommendations? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye! If you like the content on this channel, here are other videos for you to look at. Woo! And be sure to subscribe. Come join us here. It's a great time. Be part of the family.